The following marketing information and discussion is provided for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as professional guidance or consultancy. You should find an agency for that. Comexis is a digital marketing agency, so feel free to hire us. But otherwise, just enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Buyer's Journey by Comexis, a discussion-based podcast on the ever-changing marketing landscape. I'm Matthew McGordy, the social media content producer at Comexis.
I'm Josh Lyons, the digital marketing coordinator here at Comexis.
On today's episode, we are talking about the recent DoorDash tipping scandal. How coincidental that today is Wednesday and we are talking about the purchase phase of The Buyer's Journey. So for those of you who don't know, DoorDash had a recent tipping scandal. So
this is new to me.
Yeah, so this happened about 3 weeks to a month ago. I mostly want to talk about it, even though we're a little bit late to the ball on this, because there's a lot of really interesting creative that Uber Eats and some other companies have done in response to that. So we can kind of talk about that. We can kind of talk about the angle of how to react to competitor shortcomings or whatever. But also I wanted to give an update on the tipping model as well, because about 2 weeks ago, there was an update from CEO Tony Zhu about this, about how they're changing their tipping policy. But so the tipping scandal basically was that when you tipped somebody on DoorDash, you were not actually giving them the tip money. When you tip somebody on DoorDash, when they deliver your food to you and then you tip them, right? If you're not tipping in cash and you're tipping through the app, most people would think that tip is going directly into the pocket of the people who delivered your food. However, it was discovered that the tipping model is actually not like that. So if I pay Josh $6 to deliver my Chipotle order, and I tip him $3. What's actually happening is Josh is not getting $9. Josh is only getting $6 because DoorDash took your tip and basically subsidized how much they had to pay the delivery person. So what's happening is DoorDash is paying $3, your tip is paying the other $3, and in total that is the $6 delivery fee that is being paid to the worker. Tips don't work like that.
They're having the customer tip the company.
Basically.
They're tipping the company.
Yeah, it just saves...
I bought this Chipotle for $10, here's a $5 tip.
You saved DoorDash $5.
I saved DoorDash $5 instead of giving the delivery driver $5.
Yes, which you should just, if you're going to tip, you should tip in cash. But anyway,
it's obnoxious.
My point is, so when people found this out, there was a lot of blowback because obviously, as most people would think, that's not how tipping works.
Not at all.
And we don't know how long. I mean, we can figure out how long that system's been going on, but it's been going on for a while, clearly, right? So Postmates and Uber Eats came out with emails and other tweets and creative basically assuring that people who are delivering for their companies are receiving 100% of customer tips, which is good because the first thing I heard of when I heard of this DoorDash scandal was, what's going on with Uber Eats, what's going on with Postmates? Is this something that I just was not aware of for all of these things, right? So what this has basically done is it's opened up a window for Postmates and Uber Eats to really take advantage with some interesting creative and some interesting social media and PR to come out and say, hey, we're not doing this. So Postmates sent an email out a few days after this scandal went live, and they had a little quote in here, quote, so they basically there'll be an image on the blog post of what the email looked like, but basically it says our Postmates fleet always keep 100% of their tips. From the day we started 7 years ago, we've always ensured that 100% of your tips go to your Postmate. That's both the right thing to do and something we will never waver on. After all, we named our company after the people who make your deliveries. And then Uber Eats also came out in their email saying, Your tips go a long way. With Uber Eats, delivery partners get 100% of your tips. There's nothing better than the food you love delivered right to you. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes to make that magic happen. Rain or shine, heat wave or snowstorm, delivery partners make it all possible. And then we have a quote from a Postmates spokesperson to TechCrunch in an email statement explaining why they sent the email. Quote, over the last few days, there's been a lot of confusion about how third-party delivery companies handle tips, so we thought it was important to remind our customers that 100% of their tip are always passed on to the courier. We pride ourselves on being transparent, so we never want our customers to question whether where their tips are going. Uber Eats also mentioned in an email to TechCrunch about how important it was. And then we have Daniel Danker, who works for Uber, saying in a Twitter thread, in just over 2 years, drivers on Uber and delivery partners on Uber Eats have made nearly $2 billion in tips on top of their earnings. 100% of tips go directly to them because they've earned every dollar. Learn more on how tipping works on Uber. And so I want to bring this up because obviously this was such a boon for Postmates and Uber Eats, because not only, so it's a boon on multiple levels. First, it's great for the delivery workers because it looks like both of them are showing concrete, transparent showcasings of how their tipping policy works, which is fantastic because it means that if you're going to go work for these companies, you know exactly in advance what's going on. But it's good from a PR and marketing standpoint because you get to go, hey, remember when DoorDash really made this huge mistake? Well, we don't make that mistake. You might want to start ordering from us. Also, if you order from us, you don't have to worry.
And it convinces people that work for DoorDash to get out and go to one of those Postmates or Uber Eats where they know 100% of their tip money's going in their pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think this is just fantastic because we're seeing a retention angle, we're seeing an advocacy angle, and we're seeing we're basically an awareness angle. We're seeing angles on the entire spectrum of the buyer's journey. Awareness. You might not have known what Uber Eats and Postmates tipping thing was like. Now, however, you do, and you know how bad DoorDash's is. Oh, maybe I'll go order with them instead. Consideration, same exact thing. Now you know, and you can make a more informed decision. You make a more informed decision. Purchase, it's purchase. You're going to feel better knowing that your tip's going somewhere. Retention, if you use these apps already, you feel even better knowing that 100% of the tip's going. Advocacy, 100% of the tip is going to my delivery driver? That's actually how it should be. I'm glad it's happening for Uber Eats and Postmates and not DoorDash, who's being bad, right? So I think it's so smart of them to have come in here, and I think just very briefly we can talk about how sometimes opportunities are going to present themselves for marketing. I mean, Josh, you had the perfect example we talked about last week with the Kool-Aid ad for the PEMDAS, right? So can you talk about that again, just very briefly for those who didn't listen to our
so there was just a random. I feel bad I can't say who it was, but there was someone on Twitter that posted a thread of this math formula,
and the formula was
8 divided by 2 parenthesis 2 plus 2 end parenthesis. So you had to correctly use PEMDAS to solve it.
And PEMDAS, for those of you who don't know, or me and Josh are millennials, so I don't know how much math had changed prior to us going into school, but PEMDAS is basically a little shorthand for remembering the steps in which you do different forms of multiplication and division and adding and subtracting when you have a long formula like that. So that's just something to keep in mind. Go ahead, Josh.
So there was all this problem because people didn't understand. So the way it's spelled out, PEMDAS, makes it so multiplication is before division, but the way the formula actually works is multiplication and division are together. It's just in the order that it is from left to right. So if people didn't understand that, they were answering it one way. And if people just did multiplication before division no matter what, you got a second answer. There was a lot of fighting. Yeah. And it went viral. So Kool-Aid took advantage of this by, they like to already have very funny tweets. They're very cultured when it comes to how they respond to things.
They're on the pulse of meme culture.
Yes.
When it comes to being a brand responding to
right.
memes.
So they essentially, their their slogan, the "Oh yeah" that they use. They basically formulated a formula that spelled out "Oh yeah" in multiplication, division, parentheses, all addition, subtraction to spell out "Oh yeah" with a hashtag PEMDAS. Same idea, where they took advantage of something that was super serious, and then it got a lot of traction and people loved it.
Yeah. So, that's just one example. Obviously, that's not a scandal or anything bad that a competitor
but it's just taking advantage of a situation.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Postmates and Uber Eats are doing here. They're seeing two things. One, DoorDash made a big mistake. Two, people are confused about how our service works. Because if it works for DoorDash, is it the same way with Uber Eats? Is it the same way with Postmates? So you're getting the, hey, don't worry, our service is not, messing up, screwing over our delivery people. And also, look at how silly DoorDash looks because they don't, give the tips properly, right? So just to kind of close this out, there's a class action lawsuit in the works, apparently trying to get the tip money back for the tips that were supposed to have been paid. And then the CEO, actually let me double check to make sure that it is the CEO. CEO Tony Zhu announced via Twitter that the company will be changing its model for compensating DoorDash delivery people. They did not say what they're going to be changing them to, at least at the moment, but their changes are coming. And this was actually after a little bit of Zhu kind of defending the other transparency of the company. Basically, they guarantee you get paid a certain price, and that's why they thought they could subsidize the cost with tips. It's a bad system, so they're changing it, thankfully. So the whole point is changes are coming. We will update with you. We will update as we learn about them. At the time of recording, I don't know what those changes are, but I sure hope they're giving drivers 100% of the tip.
And I'm still never going to use DoorDash ever again.
There you go. Trust broken. So there you go, folks. Well, that's all for today's episode of The Buyer's Journey. Check us out on Comexis.com, YouTube, and anywhere you get your podcasts. And follow us on Twitter @buyers_journey. Thanks for tuning in.